Hi friends, I'm host Eric and I'm here with Rachel.
Hi.
She's not in frame, but now she sort of is. And together we are talking with famous people. Well, what really inspired me to stream right now was looking at the stats of the videos and seeing that each example of this concept that I've done before successfully got on the shorts feed and has over 1,000 views. Like really quickly once it gets on the short feed. One of them got to almost 10,000 views. And the concept is this. You take a song that is popular or people know, and you change the words to kitty words, and you film yourself petting your cat for about 9 seconds or something. So you go, like one of mine was, come on and pet me now, like lovers do. That was all there was to it. Got like 1,200 views or something. And I had another one that had the singing part of Azalea Banks 212, but in meows instead of regular things. And I pet the kitty. Meow, 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 head pet. Meow, 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 head pet. Meow, 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 meow. I pet the cat, you know. And then there was a third one, which was what was it? I have to look. I can't remember. So, the people have spoken what they want. And I will give the people what they want. Cat videos. Under 10-second long cat videos with melodies they're familiar with. So, there's Kitty from the 212. Oh yeah, if you want to pet my kitty, you got to go over there. If you want to pet my kitty, she is in her chair. That's got 1,625 views,
Wow.
right? And the 212 kitty, 1,354 views. Come on and pet me now has 2,132 views. Let's see. Another kitty view around, a kitty video around here somewhere. Kitty lies in a bad spot, which is just her lying on a cord, 1,800 views, but no song in that one. Let's see. Maybe that's all the kitty ones I have. Yeah, I guess that's all of them. If I had one kitty video that gets like 10,000 views, which one was it? Okay, now this kitty video didn't do so well, but just picture just video of the cat hanging out with the peacock. So it's not that exciting. There's no song or anything. Where's the one that got like 9,000 something views? Look at the analytics. That'll help me find it, maybe. Oh, that's right. This one didn't have a cat in it. Life rule number 1. This just was me saying something silly in a joke in the line of the pharmacy, and it's got 9,988 views.
Yeah, it caught on like wildfire.
And then it died like flat dead at 9977. It's like, really? Come on, give me to 10,000.
10,000.
But no. Well, yeah, in my top videos in this period, which is the last 28 days, I've got 2 cat videos. Pet Me Now, and If You Want to Pet My Kitty. And really, this isn't up to date because I think now Kitty from the 212 would make this list above number 10. So the thing is, does it matter much? Well, I've got more views, 61% more views than usual, but I have about the same estimated revenue as usual. So, and about the same subscriber increase rate as usual. And about the same watch time as usual. So it just gets me more views. Is that necessarily a great thing or whatever? Well, I don't know. I guess it should end up with more money eventually, I guess. So basically, the real question is, should I make nothing but cat videos? Probably. Probably I'd be wise to make nothing but cat. Oh, we're twinsies.
Yeah.
How fun. We're both wearing Talking with Famous People shirts. Nobody's watching this live stream. I guess I've used up all of my...
Oh, you might have.
My alerts, my notifications.
Oh, no, I got a notification.
Or maybe people just don't care. One of the two. After all, the topic is cat videos. You do get this glorious, really high...
Here's what I found.
No, you didn't.
high definition kitty pet in slow motion going on.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's some slow motion kitty pet right there.
Oh. That's so soothing.
Yeah, it is. That's one well-pet kitty. So I didn't have a whole hell of a lot to say, except I wanted to comment on the fact that, just as it's always been, what people really want is cat videos.
Yeah, they do. What people really want is cat videos. And, like, not even... Because, like, not even just animal videos. Because not every animal gets a lot of views, which is really interesting. Like, for some reason, cat videos are kind of like a niche.
Cats have a special kind of soft, furry adorableness that makes you want to look at them.
Yeah. Like, I put this, well, I personally think that baby otters are cute.
They are. They're adorable.
Yeah.
They make a fine coat.
They do, and their face, they're so cute. But I put a baby otter video, and it didn't do as well as some of the ones that I have of Pee-Pee.
Well, when I was in Santa Cruz, I used to go surfing various places, and there's one place down the coast a little bit from Santa Cruz where there were sea otters that were around you when you were surfing and stuff, and they're unspeakably adorable, just inherently, because they lie on their back and they get something that they're trying to eat, right? And they put it on their belly, and then they have a rock, and they take their little hands and they go like this, pow, 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 to break it open, and you just go like, oh, look at it doing his little work with his little hands.
Oh.
You just can't help it.
You just can't. And I believe that baby anything is pretty much cute. Like, well, I'm sure there are some that come out a little bit, like, wonky, but they're still so cute, you know? Like, a baby vulture, they're kind of like naked.
They're naked and afraid.
Yeah. But they're still so cute. I love animals. how to
You love videos of animals.
I love videos of animals. Yeah, I do. I do like going to zoos and stuff too and seeing them live. But like here, I learned that we have to have boundaries with animals because they'll push them.
Yeah, give those peacocks an inch, they will attempt to take a mile.
Yeah, they do.
You are the once.
The once.
You are
Oliver Linehan, right? Linehan?
the L's silent. It's N-E-Han. So as you see, Oliver, we provided you what everyone really truly wants. Cat video. There it is. Oh yeah, look at that cat. Look at that luxuriant kittiness.
It's a nice hand too.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So if you missed the beginning of this, just to briefly recap, I think I've got a formula I can execute real easy to get like a couple, multiple thousands of views pretty quickly, which is it's worked 3 times I've done it now, which is you just take a song that everybody knows, popular song or whatever, and you video yourself petting your cat while singing a variant of that song that includes cat lyrics. So thus far I've done "Come on and pet me now like lovers do," and I've also done
If you want to be my kitty.
"If you want to pet my kitty."
If you want to pet my kitty.
You've got to go over there. If you want to pet my kitty, because she is in her chair. And I've also done Azalea Banks, which is meow 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 head pet meow 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 meow. Yeah. So there's that one. And so now what I'm thinking of doing next, what I was planning was, it's been so long since last I had the chance to pet my kitty and feel her furry softness. I could do that. Or I could do kitty, 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 I'll pet you now. I'll pet you now.
Well.
According to Facebook Whistleblower, social media, including YouTube and Facebook, have algos that reward out and anger. Maybe title your cat videos "Angry Kitty Outs Anger Lover." Oh, Kitty Outs Anger Lover. Oh, outrage. I see. Outraged kitty outrages everyone. That's a great title.
That
Outraged
is.
kitty.
Outraged kitty outrages everyone.
Outraged kitty needs pets.
Outraged kitty needs pets. Yeah.
It's a good title.
It is.
Is there a song that could fit those words to? There's a contemporary song. It could be or any song that people really know well, like let's see. What's a good song? To put kitty words. It needs to be a famous song that people know. Like something that they're doing on TikTok, perhaps. What was the song? Oh yeah, if you think I'm sexy, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you are my kitty and I'm gonna pet you, then I'm gonna pet your face. Like that. I could sing that with the kitty. That would link in with this TikTok thing. That'd be good.
Yes, I think she likes it.
Is there a name to that meme?
I It's a TikTok, and it's the SpongeBob "Do You Think I'm Sexy" challenge.
I see.
Yeah, so you have to dress up as a SpongeBob character and do that.
How could we make the cat look like a SpongeBob character?
We can make her look like Sandy.
How?
Put a flower in her hair, in her ear.
She's so uncooperative. She's such
she won't
not
do
an
that.
actor kitty.
No. She's an adventure kitty. She's not
We
an
have to
actor
be something that we can gently set on her when she's sleeping and not wake her up to make her look like
Sandy.
a Sandy, yeah. And then we could actually just, instead of turning around or something, we could just move the camera a little bit. So, with each one of those verses. If you are my kitty and you think you're sexy, come on, let me pet you now.
So like the girls were like into it too. It's such an easy dance. Like it's such a. If you want my body, if you think I'm sexy, come on, let me know.
And do it again.
Ready? I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
If you want my body, if you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
Yeah. So I could do something off of that idea with that song with the kitty. The possibilities are endless. The thing is, if I upload like, okay, well, you know what? What's that song? How does it go? What's a song about like this? It's kind of like a rage song, that I could incorporate into this notion. Something like what's that horrible song? Like, some of those who meow 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 are the same who burn crosses. That song, yeah. Some of those who meow 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 are the same who burn. Hi, Eric Thor. Hell yeah, it's quality content. Look, it got you here. Look at that cat. That is a sensual petting she's getting right there.
Thank you, Eric Thor. Yes, it is.
The thing is, I'm not using any music from them, right? I'm covering their melody with totally kitty-related words. It's worked in the first three instances. Like, I didn't get copyrighted by Azalea Banks for going meow 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 head pet. So the thing is, I think it's fine because also we're talking about 6 to 9 seconds or something.
I got one. I got a song.
What's that?
Like a kitty, yeah. Taught pet for the very first time.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. That's a good idea. The thing is, I put up a couple of these in sort of back to back, and it both took a couple of days to find their turn in line, basically, and then they shot up. Boom.
I'm gonna pull a tarot card for Eric Thor.
Yeah, Eric Thor, you're going to get a tarot card. And listen, you're also going to get some good YouTubing advice. Give the people what they want. Cat videos. That's what the people want. Okay, that's what the shorts have taught
You know
me.
what? I'm gonna go. I was gonna use the Wise Dog Tarot. We can use both. You're gonna get two, Eric.
You're getting a special tarot treatment, Eric Thor. You know why? You're a big celebrity.
These are the oldies.
You're
oldies goodie.
a big name YouTube celebrity. You get special treatment around here. We're very aristocratic in our dealings with things. You got this card. Seven of Cups. I always have trouble finding the part that says what the number and stuff is. Seven of Cups. That's a good card, I think, to get.
Yeah, it's a neutral.
It's a neutral card.
It's a card of choices and dreams and imagination. You're dreaming up ideas right now. You have a lot of choices ahead of you.
A lot of choices there, Thor.
And then from the Wise Dog Tarot.
Will you get cinnamon buns from the embassy? One of the choices you'll make today.
Yes, Winston's mom. The Seven of Cups Tarot represents having lots of options to choose from or multiple possibilities open to you.
Alright, this card here is specifically about the seaworthiness of Eric Thor's Journey boat. Here we go. Let's find out how seaworthy Eric Thor's Journey boat is. Meow. You got the dog of dogs, dog. What's this one?
King of Wands.
King of Wands.
So you are the king of creating new endeavors. You might be feeling a little bit fiery, like feeling, what do they call it? Feeling your oats. Yeah. You might be taking charge of creative projects that you're working on. Yeah.
A little something we call visual aids around here.
Just don't.
I mean, we're both visually HIV positive, but when it's really fire, it turns into full-blown visual aids. That's what we got going on right now. Full-blown visual aids. We've got Kitty in the background being slowly pet. We've got both of us in matching shirts. We've got periodic fire. Eric Thor left like 5 seconds after he arrived. He's long gone.
Winston, he is. Winston's mom says the King of Wands dominates his environment and earns respect as well as
willing compliance. I willingly comply with your dominating words.
Willingly comply with your dominating words.
I willingly comply with Kitty's face.
Oh. I always try to get that picture of her to put on Instagram, but she doesn't feel like cooperating.
You gotta sneak up on her when she's asleep.
I do.
You're not sneaky enough.
I'm not.
You should get some sneakers. Those shoes are specifically designed to help you sneak places.
I wonder if that's SE fourth, like not being really like graceful. It's like I'm not like I'm like over here like trying to get the picture of her. it takes some awkwardness.
Yeah, it does take the stealthy skill of a ninja. If Eric Thor were still here, I might start working on the jingle for his Take a Ride on Eric Thor's Journey boat commercial that he's got planning. He doesn't know he's got it in the works, but he does. And he's gonna spend a lot of money to get a lot of ads put out there. They're gonna feature this jingle, and his central message will be, hey, come take a ride on Eric Thor's Journey boat. But it'll be in song 4. I'll help him with it someday when he gets around to it.
Winston's mom, I appreciate the dream, the good dream. I'm happy to hear that. I have not applied yet. I have to work on my resume. I'm being a normal 9 and procrastinating. That's what it means.
Well, in general, it takes an indeterminate amount of time to go from ideation to actualization. And it's generally a bad idea with people like me and Rachel to build a lot of expectations around intended things we're going to do. Doing and and planning to do, going from the idea that you're going to do something to actually following through and finishing it is a somewhat more bumpy road than it might be for other people.
Yes. And, yeah. Oh, I'm shuffling these upside down. Oh my gosh, they're all mixed up.
Oh my gosh, they're all mixed up.
Maybe not. This one is going to be for instance mom. She gets 2 as well. Ooh! Cool, I will put that on an INFJ on my resume.
This
That's a
appears
good
to be
idea.
the Ace of Wands?
Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups, I mean? Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups.
New
Love,
feelings.
joy, new beginning, heart, open, feel, bliss, fun. This one has lots of...
I found typing that ENFJ this morning very, it was a very interesting process because it was very validating on the notion that it's easy to be fooled by affect. That's why you gotta test the actual cognitive processes. Because, I was quite convinced based on his sort of self-description or implied self-descriptions that I was dealing with probably an STP. I think a lot of people probably started that typing thinking it was an STP, and then as they went along and heard test results, they realized, okay, he's not that. The ENFJ I typed earlier today. I already published it earlier today too.
Winston's mom. Okay, so she gets the 5, 6.
The 6 of what? Dogs?
Yeah, or that could be the lover's card.
Yeah, I don't see anything in particular as the 6 of.
So you got the lover's card.
Unless these are swords. Are those swords? Or
I don't
wands?
think so.
There are 6 of them.
It could be. It could be. Yeah, it could be the 6 of Wands. Yes, it's the 6 of Wands. You're right. I'm sorry to have.
No, that's fine. I don't know. No, not the girl. No, Boba Fett. Not the girl. Thank you for reminding me about the microwave, Elise. I appreciate that. I had heard it in the periphery of my hearing, but I didn't register it. I'm talking about the one I put up this morning, earlier. It's this dude named Chris. Very interesting typing. I find it very validating about everything I'm saying. Like, how difficult are ENFJs to type if you don't rely on tests? Because they're going to put on various affects. They're very, morphic to the person they're dealing with. He's going to come across to me a lot more logical and competent and less warm and emotionally competent. And he's going to come across the feeler who's more emotionally competent and less intellectually competent or whatever. Because it's just how ENFJs roll, They project what they want to be. They mirror the other person in a way that's complementary to them. Now that's a refreshing cup of coffee. Ay, 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 mamma mia.
Ay, my mamma mia.
I'm Italian. That's why I talk like this.
That's why you want a meatball and a pizza pie.
You and I, we want to go to the horse races today, but the horses are not racing.
Yeah, they are not the racing.
They must have gone off to Italy.
They must have gone off to Italy.
That's the only place anyone ever goes. Now it's getting more Yurgy-purgy.
Yeah.
I'm getting more Swedish. Yeah, I'm quite confident that she was an ESFP. Nicole was an ESFP, and I'm very, very strongly confident behind that typing of her. Just as I'm strongly confident behind the ENFJ typing this morning. It's rare nowadays that I'm not very confident about a typing. I used to be sometimes more, well, I'm 80-20 here or something, but I've gotten it down better, and I really feel very confident now when I'm typing people that I can get it right if I put in the time. Like sometimes I have to go longer than an hour to get it right, but it usually takes me about a full hour to do a thorough job of getting it right, I've been peopling like mad these past few, very draining, made a couple of new friends, scary. Uh-oh. New friends, that just sounds like future obligations.
That's a good point. New friends does equal new obligations, more obligations.
I think you'll find it fascinating, Miss Mo. I can tell you that your absence reflected in the fact that when I showed up into typing fairly late, there was only one thumbs up there.
Yeah.
That's how reliant it is on you encouraging people to thumbs up. So I encouraged, and I've got a few more thumbs up. So anyway, obviously the typings, I think, uploading typing sessions is very important because I feel, and I get that other people in general, when they encounter my channel or something, they're not going to understand it in the same way that I do, as a progression of increased clarity over time regarding how to get from stranger to I know what your type is, but nevertheless, I experience it as that. So in other words, I feel really good about uploading typings now because I'm very confident that not only that I'm right in the typing, but that I'm right in the processes I'm demonstrating to type somebody. That the things I'm doing now represent replicatable things that other people can retype them, asking similar questions. They'll get similar levels of competency, and so forth. So it makes my case pretty compelling that I'm better than the other options, and or uniquely correct to the extent that others disagree. Because the thing is, like, if you think about it, it was kind of funny. Dave's superpowers call himself objective typology or objective personality or whatever. There's no real data that he's accumulating or engaging with or whatever. It's like he doesn't have a pile of data that allows us to verify that his process is objective like he says it is, right? He's not providing us copies of his sessions or even scrutinizable justifications that we can contrast with other similar justifications. So, like, if somebody tests really well on TI questions and I end up typing them as something other than ESF, and I end up typing something like ESFP or ENFP, then people have a good way and reason to object to that thing that I've just done. They say, hold on, you've always been saying that these questions link to meow, right? So there's like built-in ways to hold me accountable. There's nothing equivalent for him. And ironically, of course, he calls himself objective personality. It's the old Democratic People's Republic of Korea thing. The less democratic you are, the more words you have in your name that indicate you're democratic, you know? So, I mean, the thing is, it comprises a big pile of objective data, which is to say, you can watch me typing people, and if nothing else, hold me accountable to me. So, in other words, like, I said this in this typing session meant yeah, but why do you say it means here in this typing session, Eric? Are questions that I'm subject to and answer. If you want to be objective, you've got to be subject to scrutiny by third parties. That's what it means to make yourself available as objective data. So, it's a pretty compelling argument. In other words, the TE people don't get to say, oh, well, we're TEing this better, you're just TIing that better. I'm TEing it better too, because they're doing such a shitty job of TEing it, not because I'm TEing it well.
That's really sweet, Winston's mom. I can't think of anything. I mean, I could, but you don't have to send us a gift. What would we like for Christmas? I just thought it was
I have trouble thinking. You're asking F.I. Polar what he wants. I don't know. It's causing me to just my brain to freeze.
One of those chairs, Arabian chairs, and have people on the side carrying them.
You want to have a bar mitzvah?
I do, actually. Those things seem so much fun.
I think that's an oxymoron, Boba Fett. I'm pretty sure there are no good non-alcoholic wines. There's apple juice, but that's not a non-alcoholic wine.
Honestly, what you send us is really good. I mean, we use a lot of...
We're using a screen screen right now.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything we need. We need, like...
Lighters.
Yeah. Purpose?
Purpose. That's what intuitive means.
Can you send us purpose for
Metaphysical
Christmas?
needs purpose. It's so true. Metaphysical types need purpose.
Direction. Self-discipline. I'd like 6 pints of self-discipline, please. If they sell it by the pint. Or a giant box of porpoises would be strange.
Ooh, a big box of porpoises. How nice!
Presumably they're dead.
Oh, I was hoping they'd be alive so we could hear them.
And then we'd have to find some water to put in them real quick.
True.
I'm pretty sure we couldn't even fit one porpoise into our fish tank. We just got new bongs. We don't need new bongs.
What's up, Nacho Business? It's been a bit.
How's the nacho business treating you? How to convince random people that MBTI is not stupid when they know nothing about it but prejudge. You just point out this, that most of the mainstream psychology frames don't address attention as something that expresses in different ways. And yet it clearly does. So I'm paying attention right now by talking to you, and you're paying attention by listening. Those are different cognitive processes. Some people are really talkative, some people are really listenative, but we don't have a word for that, right? We think it's just talkativeness is one thing. Well, in reality, talkativeness is on an axis of being more talkative or more listenative. And what cognitive functions does is it acknowledges that there are different relationships with information. People receive information, people get information, and people put information. And people interface with systems dynamically or statically, and And these realities of the universe are such. But the thing is, in the status quo in psychology, there's really no explanation or discussion or talk at all about what's happening when somebody knows something versus when somebody has to figure out the answer to something. So if I ask you what's 2 plus 2, you know the answer is 4. But if I ask you what's 75 plus 122 plus 973, you'll have to figure that out. Those are different mental processes. It's not like you figured out 2 plus 2 equals 4 really fast. It's not like you said, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then told me the answer. You just knew that that word is the answer to that. So those are different kinds of ways of paying attention, right? It's like there's no disputing the fact that diving into a pool is paying attention in a different way than describing the pool to somebody. And yet we have no taxonomy of these different attentional manners. And that's what cognitive functions attempts to do, is to say, let's look at how people actually pay attention in the world. Forget about any sort of things we can't observe, have observational certainty about. Let's just actually talk about how people actually pay attention in the world for a second. And when you realize that's what cognitive functions is, then your initial objections are going to be sort of moot, right? Because people's reasonable objections are two-letter dichotomies generally, and the notion that people are either intuitive or sensory. Everybody is both a person who expresses intuitively and sensorially. It's about the relationship you have between those two expressions that defines your type, and that emerges from the first and second function. How to convince an average Joe who's just dismissive of it? You're probably not going to get enough of their ear to do so. It takes a little bit of time or interest getting them to do so. Maybe you start. It depends on what type they are too. So maybe you start out with something like, well, cognitive functions attempts to explain why some people seem extremely logical, receptive to the arguments you're making, and some people seem extremely illogical, deaf to the arguments you're making. Could say something like that. If people who are objecting to it just go, well, it's not empirically, the Big Five is the only empirically established one, blah, 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 blah. You point out, well, even if we accept the Big Five completely, it's only descriptive. It doesn't explain anything. It doesn't explain why people are this way or that way. And you might say, well, there is no reason, or all the reasons are particularist. Every reason why somebody is some way is because of how they were raised and the specifics of their experience. You could try to make that claim. But there's a lot of good reason not to make that claim. And if you're still trying to make claims like that, then you're dealing with the issue reductively, and I'm probably not going to make any progress with you.
Ain't that the facts?
I mean, who would deny free sex toys? Pretty much everybody, because, what, are they used or what? Nothing sounds quite as suspect as free sex toys.
You know what's funny? I've actually gotten a free sex toy before.
Yeah, for what? Signing up for your bank or something?
No, I went to a holiday sale, and this what do you what do they call that? Hollywood. Where they get there's negligee and
lingerie.
Yeah, a laundry store was promoting their stuff, and
like Fredericks of Hollywood.
Yeah, Fredericks of Hollywood. A store like that was promoting their goods, and one of the items that you can get was an electric vibrator. Yeah.
Well, it's useful for vibrating things.
Yeah.
Eric, didn't you once claim that whether or not something is true is technically irrelevant to whether it corresponds with reality? If so, do you still claim that? Well, I mean, that's an extreme way of saying we can agree on the truth value of something regardless of its actual truth for the sake of argumentation. And to think of it in those ways is a better way to think about what truth is, because truth is best understood operationally, how people use claims to truth. So if you want to treat it as a object of analysis independent of usage, then you would say when we evaluate, you still have to sort of reference usage, but the statements about which we are evaluating the truth have different criteria for attaining the status truth depending on the kind of statement they are. So if I tell you that I went to the mall yesterday, that would be a lie. It would not. I did not go to the mall yesterday. It would also be something you could verify, presumably, by either establishing I was somewhere else at that time, or by looking at through a bunch of footage and showing no presence of me ever at the mall. Something like that, right? So it's at least potentially falsifiable with concrete physical evidence. If I say a statement is true about that, but the statement I'm making is fundamentally a mapping statement, so it's a statement about how we talk or something, then it's a different kind of claim, and its truth is more distinctly. In both instances, the truth is completely relative to the frame, but in the first instance, the relationship between the frame and the statement makes it such that it seems as though there's no frame there, and so that it's a different kind of thing, but it's not. Basically, there's a three-legged table to truth evaluation. One is intention, one is linkage to objective data, and one is conventionality of word usage. So it's a confluence of those three elements, and it depends on the kind of statement being made. It's important to remember that when the word is used properly, true or truth only refers to the status of statements. Only statements can be true, and things that aren't statements have no truth value. So it depends, and whether or not something is true definitionally that's one of those mapping questions. So you can establish something is true definitionally, but you can also define things. That's why I'm saying that there's not necessarily a linkage to reality per se. If if you're defining terms in ways that right, and that's why I'm saying intention is a factor, because there's a difference between lying and being wrong, and yet both those factors are considered in the larger picture of truth. So in other words, whether or not somebody is lying is a matter of truth, okay, and it incorporates whether or not they knew they were wrong when they made the statement. Whereas somebody being wrong is predicated on the notion that they didn't know they were wrong when they made the statement. They weren't lying and intentionally deceiving. The fact that people can be deceptive is definitely in the kingdom of truth, right? Deception is properly categorized under the set of things called truth-related matters. So, and belief, belief is the illocutionary presumption that we can make about everybody's statement making. In other words, there's no difference between the sentences "that's a cat" and "I believe that's a cat." Now, as we contemporaneously use the term, we would say, "I believe that's a cat" might indicate doubt, whereas "I know that's a cat" indicates no doubt, right? But basically, if you're making a statement that's simply a statement of fact, like "that's a cat," then it's implied that you believe that and are affirming that, right? That it might not be the case unless you've already indicated this certain framing that you're making an observation that you don't believe to be true. So if you okay, but Rain, the thing is, I agree that truth itself isn't contingent upon intention, but deception is. And deception is in the kingdom of truth-related jurisdictions. So, in other words, to fully discuss the matter of truth, we have to include how deception differs from other kinds of relationships with truth, because, after all, it falls under the category of things that truth must account for. That sometimes truth is not about, like, for example, lying by omission, right? If I'm lying by omission, I'm conveying to you an untruth, but I'm not actually saying it. You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to understand truth, we have to consider that it's possible to make statements that imply things or suggest things by omitting certain elements, intended to deceive and convey to other parties something that's an incorrect conclusion. Well, okay, the simplest answer, Boba Fett, is one I've given plenty of times. It is the best answer, and it really does answer the question almost completely. What is truth? It's a status we afford to statements when we agree with them. Okay? It's that simple. What is truth? It's a status we afford to statements when we agree with them. Nobody can dispute that statement's true. Who could disagree with that statement? It is the case that truth is a status we afford to statements when we agree with them. There's no disputing that. Okay, so enough about truth. It's boring Elise S. And she's going to be a paralegal. So if she's bored.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and she's a paralegal, then it must be boring. And the last thing in the world I want to do is bore Elise S. I woke up this morning, I had one thing on my list. Don't bore Elise.
Oh, look who's joined us.
Oh, good. Love Face is here. Oh, look, once again, I am pleased to see they're offering their online strips without any clothing. That's the best kind.
I didn't know what kind of strip. Yeah.
Online strips without clothing is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
It's so silly. Isn't lying a defense mechanism usually, but if someone uses lying as a method of persuasion, then is the lie a lie or their truth? I mean, the idea of lying suggests that somebody knows they're being deceptive and chooses to do so because of whatever justification. Like, it may be their truth that it's okay for me to lie to you in this context because yeah, but it's not their truth that the words they said are true. You know? No one's debating any God, all right? Well, I mean, look, the thing is, we shouldn't modify the word truth with either subjective or objective, okay? Ideally. We'd acknowledge that some people who are objective will consistently afford a given statement truth is a reasonable claim to make, or people who are subjective in their calculi are less likely to afford a given statement truth as a value is a reasonable claim to make. but that's using words more correctly, you know? I mean, I'm assuming, look, if they don't know they're lying, then the word we would have for that is either deluded or wrong, right? We have different words for people who don't know they're lying. If I tell you that, last Wednesday I went to Mia, and my memory's a little bit hazy, and it was actually last Thursday, I'm just wrong. I'm not lying, right? I got the day wrong, and I said Wednesday, but it was actually Thursday. I don't know, it got mixed up in my head somehow. If I tell you, no, I was at Mia on Wednesday as an alibi for a crime, and I was actually Mia on Thursday, it's still possible that I was just wrong, and I'm not lying. But let's say I do know that I committed the crime, and my alibi is bullshit. Well, obviously I know that I'm lying then. It's not my truth that I was simultaneously committing the crime and somewhere else at the same time. I mean, and it's true that there are reasons, plenty of good reasons to justify lying sometimes. Like, if you are being subjected to unjust oppression, if you answer a question correct, honestly, then you might say, well, that only justifies remaining silent. But you can certainly make the argument that there's no reason to be honest with people who are honestly trying to harm you without adequate cause. After all, your silence, therefore, is a form of honesty that's revelatory regardless, and do you really have that obligation to speak the truth to people who will use that, will use that truth to harm you? I don't know. I mean, you can make the argument, right? So there's plenty of not horrible ways to rationalize lying. You might not even call it rationalization. You might call it, in some instances, saying this is not the right frame for this or something. Like if like, for example, let's say somebody put a lot of effort into making something like their homemade dress or whatever, and they show it to you, even if you think it looks all messed up and amateurish. Now is probably not the right time in the first blush of her enthusiasm of showing it to you to crush her with how awful it is, right? Let her sort of come to that conclusion gradually on her own or something. So there's a kindness element to that might also be used to justify dishonesty in some circumstances, right? And the people who will oppose these arguments will always say it's kinder in the long run to meow, or it's if you're really in the right and you have justice on your side, then you've got some sort of morally indicated motion towards explicitly standing up to it and saying, no, I will tell you the truth and you'll do with it as you wish, but that's on you because you're the one who's being wicked, not me. It's your hardcore TI frame, right? If you say something wrong and then realize you're wrong but don't correct it, then are you lying now but not before? No. You just have an uncorrected mistake. Now, if you proceed forward in ways that take advantage of other people's accepting that uncorrected mistake as true without correcting it, then that's where you get into that kind of why intention matters when it comes to truth. Because in that instance, you still haven't lied. You were wrong initially. You didn't correct yourself. And you're operating on their assumption that you were correct. But you still haven't ever lied, right? So in that instance, we need to incorporate intentionality into a full understanding of truth. Session got boring. Oh, ever lied to someone about their type? Session got boring. Yeah, I just give them what they want. You're them, yeah? No. I just... No. Can't do it. Sorry. It's just not...
That's truth right there.
I just can't do it. It's like...
That's a good typologist.
I don't really... I care more about being right than I care about your positive experience in my typing session, is what it boils down to. It might be a better way to get customers to just make sure everybody has their egos stroked in the ways they want to, but I don't think I'd be particularly good at that, and I certainly don't have any interest in doing that. I've got sort of I'm increasingly confident and I'm increasingly confident in what I have and what I have an increasing amount of time invested in. Now the thing is, that's not always the case. So just because I invest a lot of time into something doesn't mean I'm not going to, after a huge amount of time investment, trash the whole thing. I very well may with lots of projects that just I spend way too much time working on and never coming into anything. This isn't one of those. It's like, I know how it feels when I'm grasping. I'm not grasping here. It's gelling. Everything's coming together. I feel like, I'm probably not going to be the one who organizes it into some sort of protocol, but there's a fairly standardizable protocol here you can execute to type people, and that's what typology's never had before. Is anything that's sort of a standardizable protocol that everybody can implement that's gonna be correct. Your tests that require you to just answer multiple choice questions and stuff, there's not enough. You need reactivity in real time. You need observations about reactivity in real time. But you can, in theory, TE that shit down so it becomes something objective. Look for responsiveness within this range of seconds or something like that. In theory, you can put that shit together, and you'd have something that would be a real, actual, like, protocol that other people could execute, and consistently different people get the same results using this. Well, it's like I didn't think about it until I asked it the first time. I didn't think about the answer to it really. But the answer I came up with after a little bit of thinking about it was, it's a way people divide text into arbitrary units of consumption that allow them both to better like place mark and locate things within a body of text, and also have a sense of how much text they're consuming. So, and or images, related data, and so forth. It's kind of a long definition, but at least it's operationalized, right? It's a way people divide waterfalls of information into arbitrary chunks that probably equal about a certain amount of time of attention, but that's fairly wide-ranging depending on the density of the text and stuff. Page in computing is to divide a piece of software or data into sections, keeping the most frequently accessed in main memory and storing the rest in virtual memory. Huh. Yeah, you got a good point there. I do think that my definition would falsely include paragraphs. It would not exclude paragraphs. So that's a fair objection to my definition. I guess I don't have a great definition for it. It's a different. I do. Every time I hide him, that account is hid forever. Then they come back. They are some slight variation of it. Like maybe last time the space was after the X or something. You know, they got multiple accounts. It's a bot, obviously. It's not a person. Well, there's that kind of page as well. The youth being trained for medieval rank of knight and in the personal service of a knight. I didn't know that's what the definition of it exactly was. When I said to somebody in a session, I was like, page, but you know, not like the guy who stands over there you call to get you stuff or whatever. A huge weed brownie right now would be bomb. Rachel and I don't do a lot of edibles. You know, we're not huge edible fans. It generally makes me just sort of feel kind of out of commission for a chunk of time, more than high per se. But the last edibles we've been eating have all been Delta 8. We haven't tried regular edibles in a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yo 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 yo. That's about the right amount for me. About 200 milligrams. But it depends on the brand too. It's really hidden. It's really wildly varies. Depends on the brand. You know, one brand's 200 milligrams, another brand's 100 milligrams. You really can't tell what you're getting when you get edibles, unless you're familiar with the brand. That's another problem with them, you know. So, Rachel and I are what you might call smoking enthusiasts.
Yes, we are.
We prefer to ingest via the smoketacular smokage of our smoking ways.
Yes.
It's not even the dispensaries, at least. It's the edibles makers. The dispensaries don't make those edibles. They buy them from vendors. It's the vendors who do it. If I was living in Fahrenheit 451, then what book would you memorize and carry forth? I mean, what I thought when I last read Fahrenheit 451 is, oh my lord, is this such an SITE bias? It's a astonishingly SITI. You know, it's like, did I say TE? I meant to say TI. Astonishingly SITI in the bias of it. That we have to preserve the genius words of TI users who come before us. It's so ISFJ, it's ridiculous. Ray Bradbury must have been an ISFJ.
Is it very detailed in nostalgia?
Well, I mean, it's what would be a literary-minded ISFJ's dystopia? What would have been my mom's dystopia? My mom's dystopia would have been Fahrenheit 451, where all the beautiful literary works that she loves to revisit, the beautiful language of, they are disallowed by this increasingly militaristic and mindless, fast-paced society. It's all action, 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 and no knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. That book is written by a knower. And so what's the solution to this dystopia? To have people memorize a book so that they can make the literary tradition of humanity preserved as oral tradition? Are you fucking kidding me? Talk about frame bias. What a terrible solution. Talk about T.E. Polar, right? What a terrible solution. Is that how you're going to preserve humanity's literary history? By getting individual humans to each memorize one book, word for word, and then pass it on? That's just terrible TE, incredibly presumptuous about people's SI, and over prioritizing the value of ideas that have come before, right? That are specific, like TI values. So what's it undervaluing? NE and NI, that you can, number one, come up with new ideas that are even better, and number two, you can encapsulate the point of that book in some way other than memorizing the whole fucking thing. You know, it's insane. I don't know what Orwell's type was. But again, I suspect he's an introvert, right? His big brother is yeah, I would say that's NETI at play. I mean, you could say NITI. It's hard to say which kind of N it is. You're observing something that's determinate on the point, right? That is highly relevant. In fact, the most relevant thing you could possibly say, pretty much, if you're going to undercut the validity of my definition. So, in other words, you're saying your definition isn't unique to Page. And if we're trying to distinguish whether something, if we're trying to operationalize the definition and say, is this thing a page? We'd get false positives for paragraph. So that's it. Whether or not you could call it NI, but I mean that's the nature of NE, right? Is it's always looking for deviations from what's there and trying to suggest here's why we can falsify it. So it's like the fact that it displays competency with both ends, and it's TI for sure. Do I think Bradbury was even capable of doing that? I mean, I don't know. The other thing weird about Ray Bradbury is he never wanted to drive himself anywhere. He never drove. He had a guy drive him around, or he took the bus or something. He didn't like to drive. It was too fast paced. He hated the fast paced cars, and it's like he's really what's Facebook VR stuff? I don't know what kind of Facebook VR stuff there is.
I don't know either.
Someday, Elise asked, when we have these live streams, you all, and Rachel and me too, will all virtually be together in a really fancy looking room. And so we won't have to exist in our actual squalor. We can pretend we're rich and famous.
Yeah.
This Facebook metaverse and virtual reality shit is literally like from a Black Mirror episode. I mean, the metaverse already exists in the form of the universe, in the form of the internet. That is the metaverse. That is the metaphysical ecosystem. You know, what they're saying is, let's make this metaphysical ecosystem more immersive and link. Let's represent things more such that they link to experience. So, like in the status quo, the only way that you're linking to this experience with me is by what you're seeing and what you're hearing. And what you're seeing isn't much. It's just this repeating cat video, and it's me just talking with a shirt that changes from black to yellow because of the nature of the green screen. A more immersive experience, it would be like we were all in the same room. We wouldn't actually be, but you wouldn't just be able to see us and hear us. We'd be able to hug each other, and it would feel like we're actually hugging. We would be able to smell that you didn't take a shower today, Eric. I'd be shamed a lot about how stinky I am. maybe I could turn that off. Maybe I could say no. Make it seem like I smell good.
Yeah.
And then you never really know who smells like what. That's the big risk of this so-called virtual reality metaverse. Is smell lying.
Ooh, smell lying.
Smell lying is what is called when you use the VR metaverse to position yourself as someone who smells differently than they actually smell.
Ooh.
And that's another thing that we need to incorporate in our definition of truth is smell lying.
Yeah.
It gives you the creeps. At least ask. Yes. I've got a delivery here for you. What? Right here. Those 3 guys? Yeah, these are creeps. Each of these is a creep, and you won them in a radio contest. I don't really want the creeps. Too bad you're stuck with them now. Goodbye. Okay, creeps, go away, please. And you go inside. You look out your window later. They're all standing there staring. Oh, God, what is up with these creeps? You leave for work in the morning, and they're following you, taking pictures of you.
You could also get the creeps where you're like, you just feel like creeping around.
Right, they walk like that. Rachel, can you demonstrate how they walk, the creeps? Yeah, they walk just like that. They're constantly creeping. You know, here's something that a radio contest, not a radio head contest, a radio station contest. Here's something that I sometimes forget to remind people that's very important. I don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a guy who won't get nothing from me, hanging out the side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. As if, right?
Yeah, as if.
As if. I'm not going to be responsive to that scrub's hollers.
No.
I'm going to say, your hollering is misdirected here, sir. For you are a scrub. I break a lot of hearts that way. You know, it's kind of sad what happened to old Left Eye. You know, the Left Eye died, right? You know how she died?
Plane crash?
I think it was a car crash.
Oh.
Actually, but I could be wrong. But it was in South America. She was somewhere in the wilds of savage South America, and some accident of some sort took her life.
That's so sad.
And it was from her. She is the one who first taught me to stop chasing those waterfalls.
Yes.
I had a bad habit of chasing waterfalls prior to hearing that song. And it was like, wow, she must have gotten all my fan mail asking her advice about waterfall chasing.
Wow.
This song may be a response to me directly. And she's pretty clear in her indication that I should not go chasing waterfalls. I had listened to it several times. Does it say do go chasing? Do? No, it definitely says don't. Finally, I accepted it. Now I no longer chase them. If I can't catch them right away, I just let them go.
Sounds like an easier life.
Well, another band, a different band, I guess, added on to their message when they point out the reason I should not go chasing waterfalls is that I'm never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never get it.
Oh, what?
That was an addendum. An addendum
like the
to the
addendum.
TLC song, yeah. And I thought, hey, those ladies sound like they know what they're singing about. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, gonna get it.
Yes, waterfalls do like rain. I saw this video of like, or were we watching it? Of a waterfall, but the wind current was coming from the bottom.
The so-called updraft.
Updraft, yeah.
And it made the waterfall. It was going down like this over the edge of the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of continuing downward, it suddenly swooped back upward.
Yes.
In a big spray of water.
Yeah, big.
It's like,
spray.
wow, now that's some powerful
Oh,
wind.
So many winds.
Breezes galore.
Yeah, like, so impressive. So, cool to watch.
Okay, so Rain, how would I go about answering the question of whether consciousness can be realized virtually, i.e., if one could upload one's mind and change experiential planes from physical to digital? I would answer it by saying that it requires you to continue to have a biological body. I believe it very plausible that we will eventually have deep dive virtual realities in which there's complicated chairs that we basically lie down in that move around and stuff and do other things to make it feel like we're actually there as possible. But I think that you might say, well, look, in dreams we can smell things and we can feel things. Why do we need to incorporate the physical capacity at all? Why don't we just access that part of the brain that produces those same sensations in dreams? Well, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. You make a good point. Maybe it's possible to do that. But I still say it's required that you have a biological body to do this from. That it's not possible to thereby exclude the biological body entirely, upload the consciousness, and continue to function as a living being just in that virtual realm. The reason I don't think it's possible is because in all the first scenarios, there's something interfacing with something. So there's a physical something that a machine is interfacing to render stuff digitally. In the second scenario, that something's gone. And the idea that you can replace it as well with a digital thing neglects the fact that you're digitizing the experience for someone. And that to do that requires that the someone be non-digital. You can't digitize an experience for a digital something because they have no non-digital experience. So sort of definitionally with the terms, if you think about it, then it doesn't make sense to upload consciousness. But beyond that, I would say that the other implication of this is that it's not possible to create sentient AI. That we cannot actually create a self-aware, intelligent, artificial intelligence that has a will of its own and an identity of its own meaningfully. And the reason we can't do that is because in order to attain those things requires one to have access to, I mean, the thing is, being that is a process, not an outcome, really. It's a process that emerges with experience, exposure to language, hardwiring to receive and understand language, and the confluence of our environment and our attentional stack. So it's like the only people who really don't get why you can't upload your consciousness are people who don't value physical experiences at all. Because it's like when I eat food after I've been starving for too long, what happens is I get these tingles and this whole rush through my body of a shifted relationship with reality that comes from satisfying those basic physical needs. And if you're an SI Dom like my mom was, so much of her life was built around the moments of animal tending. It's like my cat spends most of her time sleeping and cleaning herself and eating and a little bit of time running around. Now, I mean, how would you upload that consciousness? And are you just simulating those experiences? Again, you need to have something to simulate it to, right? So, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And I think I'll be proved right by history. But we'll find out. Right, but the point is, Rain, we already know how to make another human. We've been doing it since the beginning of time. We have sex and create a baby. So what you're saying is we could create a biological brain, create within that brain the capacity to start smaller and grow larger, to be both hardwired to attend in certain ways and be responsive necessarily in certain ways to specific experiences, and give the time to grow, etc. Well, then it's just a human being, right? It's like you're just talking about taking a human being and removing from it its body and saying, let's see if this sustained head by itself becomes a fully realized human being. No, it'll be a deeply damaged, incomplete self. So the thing is, when you actually start thinking about what consciousness transfer would entail, it would seem to require that you take over an existing biological body, if it were to be possible at all. And even then, you have to figure that the actual physical constructs of the brain link to the expressions of the self in very precise ways. To the extent that you would then take over the consciousness of another body, it would be at the expense of restructuring, rebuilding, moving around their brain so that it has the same exact pattern of wrinkles as yours. And then presumably there'd be some sort of process where you'd send your identity, which is say your block of memories mostly. I mean, that's the other weird thing about it, right? If you think about uploading a consciousness, well, you upload an ENFJ's consciousness or an ENTJ's consciousness, it's almost all process. It's not, there's no parts of identity really that are objects that stick around so much. They got a small set of memories. And if you're talking about uploading an ISFJ or ISTJ's consciousness, you're talking about uploading a large set of memories. Some people are comprise more metaphysical objects than other people do. If you are talking about an ESFP or an ISTJ, you're talking about uploading things that are habits and fluid responsiveness in the one sense and habits in the other, that render them themselves, as we can understand them, primarily experiential practices in the world. So, there's a huge identity bias just talking about the question. Yes, but why do you say that organic materials can be arranged to produce consciousness, yet non-organic material cannot, if that's what you're saying? I'm saying that that consciousness, that how we make consciousness is by having things that start out as babies and end up as adults. That process of growing, in conjunction with our particular experiences in our attentional stack, comprise identity. So, in other words, there's no way to create identity except to have it go through that kind of experience. And why do I say, why not non-biologically? Well, I mean, to the extent that you were going to try to do it with non-biologicals, I believe that you'd have to make non-biologicals that were synthetic identicals to how people are now. And that even if you were to do that, you couldn't make an adult. You'd have to make a baby, and you'd have to make it from conception and let it grow. That being conscious and having an identity is a function of that. It's not the other way around. Any species would be viruses if ever were uploaded to a mainframe. At least ask, I'm going to have to take exception to that. I am meant to live forever. As far as I can tell, I will live forever. And I appreciate you not drawing my attention to the possibility that I'm wrong. Okay, well, I mean, granted, I didn't establish the link between identity and consciousness, but what I'm saying is when we talk about uploading consciousness to something or creating artificial intelligence, one of the reasons why the question doesn't get answered very well is people don't understand that consciousness, or don't think or consider this factor when talking about it, that consciousness comprises both the processes of experience and action and the objects of identity. You know, so it's like, it's easy enough to imagine uploading one's articulable objects. So if you imagine a person comprising skill sets they've learned, such as the muscle memory I have for playing the guitar or something, one can conceivably imagine that being represented as units of data in some regard and uploaded. But even if it were, there'd have to be a corresponding physicality, right? So when they call it muscle memory, they call it muscle memory for a reason. It's not really something I'm thinking or knowing or doing or anything. It's just my fingers do it automatically, right? So how do we upload that without fingers and a guitar? It's just, it really starts to break down when you understand what it would require to upload all of the soul of a person, all of the identity, and what comprises a specific unique person is a lot more than just data that you can upload. Like, if we imagine that you could just upload shit like that, then we can imagine that each of these skill sets can be represented as data, and a relationship between an object identified as an agent and the action they take in the system. Okay, so there's this 10,000 hours rule. To become great at anything, you have to have 10,000 hours put into it. It's completely bullshit, and it's very SITE biased. So, as a matter of fact, if you look at Stanley Kubrick's pictures from when he was 17 years old, the first artwork he ever did, basically, was walk around New York City and take pictures. His pictures are stunning. They're really impressive. He was just a prodigious talent in terms of visual arts. And he made a lot of visually stunning stuff. He's mostly famous for his movies, but his photographs are really, really impressive from when he was a kid. So, you know, that's just intuition. On the other hand, you get people like the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena Williams, and their dad definitely took a TESI approach, and it would appear to have paid off. Was it predicated on them having some natural talent in tennis, naturally anyway? I'd say yeah. They had to have at least enough, basically raw physical ability as your average pro tennis player does at birth, and I think they did, and so that was fine, and it worked out because probably his kids were also inclined towards SISETE kind of things, and so it worked out fine for him. But you look at somebody like Roger Federer, his parents didn't even want him playing sports. he bounced between this sport, that sport, different things, all kinds of random shit. And finally decided he kind of liked tennis. And so then he decided to kind of focus on tennis. And he became the best tennis player in the world. And there was no 10,000 hours, right? It was just, he was naturally a talented athlete. And he was best served to bounce around between sports until he found the one that he enjoyed the most. And his parents didn't want him to be an athlete at all. They wanted him to be like a doctor or something. They discouraged him from playing sports. So, that's, you can be the Venus Williams' father and get your outcome. You're Tiger Woods' dad and get your outcome. But for every Tiger Woods' dad and Venus Williams' father, there are millions and millions of frustrated SITE parents who can't get their kid to direct their attention meaningfully towards what they want them to direct their attention to. So my dad was convinced that I had everything it took to be a very successful long distance or medium distance runner. I was tall, I was lean, I carried little extra weight, I had long legs and long strides, but I fucking hated it. I hated jogging. I hated running. It made me breathe hard. It made me feel exhausted. It seemed pointless and tiring. It was unpleasant. Every time I started getting, anytime there's, pain, my thought was no pain, no gain. My thought was, oh God, this is fucking shitty. I hate this. It was not learn to love the pain. Feel the weakness leaving your body. I did not like the feeling of weakness leaving my body. I found my weakness precious and wanted to hold on to it. Please don't leave my body, weakness. I will forego the discomfort of this running thing and keep you close, weakness. You stay right here where I can hug you and kiss you and love you. I mean, look, the thing is, the 10,000 hour rule has been broken by me in the other direction. I've been playing guitar for way more than 10,000 hours, and I'm still not very good at it. I'm still trying to get good. I am way better than I used to be, and I'm starting to think increasingly okay, this is getting tight. Third parties will go, oh, that's clean and tight, and I'm beginning to master playing the songs the same way every time, sort of. I'm 50 fucking years old. I've been playing the guitar since I was 21. So, I'm hit and miss. Sean Ryan Barron, there are no highly qualified, knowledgeable mentors when it comes to songwriting. There no such thing exists.
I think that you're naturally talented.
Thank you, darling. It's not untrue that I needed guidance from Corey about aesthetics, but once you get past that thing, it's like, what's the only real guide you can rely on if you want to be a composer of some sort, songwriter or whatever? The only guide you can rely on is the relentless self-critique and your own intuition. And you can get guidance, aesthetic guidance from various sources, but ultimately you've got to master it yourself, Sure, you can learn things from things, but it's not like, if you want to be a violin maker, let's say, you really need a mentor. If you want to be a good teacher, you really need to have a mentor teacher to show you how to do it. It's a very specific kind of TE that needs to be applied. Songwriting songwriting particularly, of all things, it requires you to commune with God in some way, to do it well or to do it right. And it can't be taught. And the best you could do is turn somebody who's got no business trying to write songs into a passable craftsman or empower somebody who should be writing better songs to do so. Buckethead, Buckethead, Buckethead today. Buckethead is a good example of somebody who spent too much time playing the guitar and too little time thinking about art. And that's one to grow on.
That is one to grow on.
Well, I mean, only some things work like that, right? There's only certain things work like that. Basically, the 10,000 hour rule is a rejection of what we know to be the case. That how long it takes you to master something, or whether you will ever master it, has almost everything to do with you and almost nothing to do with how you approach it. If there's plenty of things I could spend a million hours trying and I would never get good at them. You know, if you try to have me spend a million hours practicing let's say it's hard for me to think of something I'd never get good at if I practice. No, I'm pretty good at learning and getting better at things with practice. I mean, I really am not, I guess, but I feel like I am. I guess I'm just constantly lying to myself. Anyway, what wouldn't I get better at?
I don't know about that. I don't think you're constantly lying to yourself.
Well, the truth is, when I said I got good with practice, I realized thereafter, actually, I'm very slow at improving with practice. I've been practicing those same songs for forever, and I only have a few of them down, really, that I can do without looking at anything. So it's actually, I'm rather slow. But regardless, yeah, well, I can't play like that. I like to play the opposite, Boba Fett. So when I play my guitar, I want to have it higher up than normal, not lower down. I know lower down is cooler looking, but it gives me less, I feel like I have less accuracy or control. Well, I mean, it's like those big motorcycles, you know, those motorcycles with where you are like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good.
Riders.
Yeah, that's not a good way to ride a motorcycle. It doesn't make it very maneuverable. It doesn't give you good. It's not a good way to do it, but you can successfully ride a motorcycle like that. That's the same thing with playing your instrument way down here. It may look cool, but you're just making it harder for yourself. I've never been into making it harder for myself. I find that too annoying. I definitely would rather sacrifice the look and bring it up high. I would guess he's some kind of NFJ just by his art. I have no other reason to think that, but he's got a super NIFE kind of eye. His shit pops. It's really NI. So, but that's not enough reason to conclude he is that. But that would be my guess based on looking at his stuff.
That would be my guess too.
You had mariachi sing at your grandma's funeral? Did it sound something like this? Ay, 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 abuelita es muerte. Ay, 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 abuelita es muerte.
In Spanish.
That's mariachi band playing at Elise S.'s grandmother's funeral. That's my class presentation today. I wish I had a class presentation to give every day. Today my class presentation is on cumulus clouds. We have many different kinds of clouds on Earth. Some of them are big and white and puffy. Others are gray and threatening. But what kind of clouds are cumulus clouds? Cumulus clouds are the clouds that gather in the sky on sunny days. Scientists say that winds from the south, convection ovens. Something like that. You know, some sort of presentation about something I don't really know anything about. I just make stuff up. Talk about the war on the Iberian continent in the 19th century. Oh, that. Yeah. Well, the Iberian continent suffered a lot of internal conflict early in the 19th century due to the growing tensions between the aristocracy and the increasingly bereft peasant class, who had been long denied both rights and active involvement in the economics of the country. Seeing their neighbors to the west, I say I could just make up random shit.
Oh my gosh, I totally bought all of that.
No. I don't know if there was a war on the Iberian continent. I'm not really sure what the Iberian Peninsula is. I think it's a thing. I think it's a place. I'm not really sure where it is. I don't know if they've ever had a war. I have no idea anything about the Iberian Peninsula. Clockwork Orange is a very impactful film. Like, it's got a lot of. It really like punches you in the gut in a couple places,
yeah,
and I remember it pretty clearly, even though it's been many years since I've seen it. I don't want to see it again.
Right?
It sounds like
That's
something
like
I'm too tender to watch now.
Yeah.
You get more tender as you're older, you know.
Thank you. I feel the same way. Like certain like movies and stuff, I just like can't watch because like the gore gets to me.
It's called the progressive moistening of identity. It's the theory of progressively moisture identity, which says that as you get older, your identity becomes a little moister. You moisten. And death is actually best described as when your slice of bread becomes so moist that it completely falls apart. My dad is deaf.
Yeah, he wouldn't hear it.
That's one thing we don't got to worry about is sounds. If he does hear something, you know he's commenting on the fact that it was very loud. Like, he said one time when he came out, I knew you were awake, I could hear you coughing. I must have had a big coughing fit then, you know. It's like Requiem for a Dream by Aronofsky. I don't know what that is.
Ooh, it's a drug movie. It's an art styled drug movie. You definitely only want to see it once.
Well, you know, I think a lot about art and aesthetics, and I used to talk a lot about it, but I don't like arty stuff in general. Even though I myself can easily be described as arty. So it just goes to show you, just because I'm not so much arty as I am amateurish. So it's like, I'd like to be less arty, but a lot of times in music, if there's some sort of problem, you can kind of fix the scene by doing some weird stuff there. Mm-hmm. I used to have a habit of doing that a lot. Now I don't so much do that anymore. I don't like artiness for its own sake. I don't like things that seem to position themselves as bearing some message that I don't know. And you know, I don't want weirdness thrown at me as an end in itself.
Yeah, like, that's disjointed, can feel disjointed from the film, like almost campy when that happens.
And I don't particularly want to be. I want the filmmaker to respect my FI a lot, which is to say, if something awful happens, I don't want to actually see it really. if it's something cruel, some kind of cruelty thing, I don't need to really feel the impact of that cruelty to get its position in the story. Just, okay, sort of give me a heads up. Here comes a scene of extreme bullying, and then show at the end of it, okay, it's over now. Just cut right there. I get it. I don't need to see it. It's just gonna make me feel sad and bad and stick with me in ways that I don't like.
Yeah. Kids is a movie like that for me too.
I would never want to see it again.
No.
I have seen it.
I've seen it too, and I would never want to see it again either.
I also, me too. It made me go. I still cringe thinking about it a little bit.
You know what surprised me recently? Having Disney Plus is like super great. I think it was a great investment. I love Alice in Wonderland. I love the art. I love the music. I love that she has like a cat too, and I know it's based on a book, but I still think that the art in Alice in Wonderland is really cool.
I object to the lack of coherent storyline.
In Alice in Wonderland?
So yeah, what's the storyline?
So it's basically dreamland. So the movie starts off in like her you get a sense that it's an older sister is teaching her something from a book, and she's supposed to be reading, and she's like, oh, I don't want to be reading. I don't want to be like learning lessons. I just want to be in my own world where nothing makes sense. So she falls asleep. She falls down a rabbit hole when she finds this rabbit, and she falls down a hole. And in this hole, there's a world where nothing makes sense, and she has to try to get home. And then she wakes up, and it was all a dream.
I would call The Room an example of amusing failure. It's like, just because it's fun to watch, because it exemplifies so many horribly ill-informed choices, doesn't mean that it becomes good somehow, right?
Easy, come this way.
It's still terrible. It's just it attained it's so archetypally manifest a certain kind of failure that it's its own experience, right? Of course, things like that will occasionally occur. You might call it someone's SI that's long built up and running afoul of the world's NI. Like that other guy who makes those weird videos about saving the world from like corporations and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? What's his name? Who's that other weird filmmaker who does these films where he's like by a tiger and it's just like green screened in there, and he there's that scene where he says, "No, you can't come over here like that." And there's this like teenage girl, and he grabs her arms. "No, you can't. It's not appropriate." Because she's trying to get on him, even though it makes no sense. Because he's like this dorky 40-year-old looking dude or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody out there know who I'm talking about? That guy, he's kind of hilarious. He's what you call hilariously awful. He's a terrible actor.
From Avatar?
No, he's not anything famous. It's the same kind of level of film as The Room, okay?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Except he's made a number of them.
Yes, he's made a number. He has younger women in his films. That's right. 18-year-old girls.
Yeah, and if you look up, YouTube search terrible acting, I think it'll probably come up right near the top. Let me try that. Let's see what happens when we YouTube search terrible acting. this. The guy that guy on
Yes,
the left.
him.
Whatever
Yes.
his name is. What's that guy's name?
I don't know.
Huh. Alright, well, let me watch a little bit of this and see. That is some terrible acting. I mean, some terrible editing, too, right? Let's see if it says where they are from. No, it'll say the title of the film, probably. Twisted Pair, okay. So this guy is in Fateful Findings.
Fateful Findings.
Fateful Findings is a real winner in terms of horrible acting and such. You can purchase this on YouTube if you'd like, the whole film, or you could just watch Fateful Findings Best Scenes, in which you have some scenes like this.
You killed him.
That girl's a terrible actress. Alright, so I will get everybody a link to this wonderful video called Fateful Findings Best Scenes. It does kind of make me want to buy it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
not
totally
sure
worth it.
if we'd really be able to watch the whole thing, but Fateful Findings, yeah. If you want to watch a movie that'll really make you think, that'll really make you go, wow, what a filmmaker, do indulge yourself in Fateful Findings. Okay, we've been live streaming for 2 hours now.
Wow.
Are we about ready to wrap it up? Or do you have more things you want to say or talk about?
No, I'm pretty much done.
Why don't I play a quick song or two? Why don't we do Cloudy Day in Los Angeles, since it is a cloudy day in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
it is.
And then we'll bid adieu to our internet friends. It's a very
cloudy day in Los Angeles. And today we run out of time. It goes fast, but goes still to come.
The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving to those who stay awake all night, and voices mostly say to give in. They'll try to stop your will to fight, but whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten, noise is sort of based on what I see here, and also on what I avoid.
It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles. And today we run out of time. Girls pass
Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, and I have something to say, something to say. That was good, Rachel.
Thanks, it was very good.
It was a fun song to play.
Let me see if PP wants more food.
You want that one, Boba Fett? Okay. You come outside, your arms are folded. I'm getting scolded for playing again. I wanna be as much as I can in terms of the man you want me to be. I gotta do what I got to do. I'll include you in everything that I can. 'Cause I'm your man, and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. I want your belief. You want my attention. I've got invention going again. And I wanna be as much as I can in terms of the man you want me to be. But Kimberly, please don't be mad at me. Though I made this song, 'cause I'm your man and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. I'm your man and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. Till my dying day. Oh yeah. Thanks, darling. El Nino, my ass. You call those storms. Where is the rain? Those drizzles don't count. I drizzle more when I be in the sink. Which is just the right height to catch all of the undesired splatter. When I'm done, I'll go upstairs and climb a ladder. I will go up there and take me a bucket and pour water inside. And I'll say, hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom. Hey, Mr. Cloud, won't you drop it from the bottom? Hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom on me.
That was so nice.
Thanks.
Oh, the oatmeal. The oatmeal's been good. I don't believe we actually had it that night, but I've been eating it before going to bed at random times, and it's yummy.
So after we're done here, we'll probably go get some food, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're gonna get. Maybe something good. Maybe something shitty. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
It's a mystery.
I hope it's got something good.
When I was younger, it seemed. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. When I was younger, it seemed that everything gleamed. I don't know what happened to me, but I've lost that sense of urgency, and I don't think that I'll ever see it again. If you follow my lead, you'll discover I'm loster than you, and you'll wanna know the way to get back at to wherever it was you thought you knew. And tomorrow will be just like today. I'll be lost then too. It's a matter of mood as much as a matter of will. And the things I do and the direction I point to still seem a part of me, though departedly. And I wonder if I'll ever see them again. Bum-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-da-dee-dee, da-da-dee-da-da-da-doo. Ba-ba-dee-da-dee. Da-da-da, ba-ba-dee-da-da-da-da. That was nice.
That is nice. We had tacos actually, 2-3 nights ago? At Taco Bell.
We did.
From Taco
We got
Bell.
the snack pack,
Yeah.
which included 4 burritos and 4 tacos for just $10.99. We need to know. Oh, we need to see. Oh, we need to bend. Happening down by our means to judge a logic to life we divisively unlike, and from which we'll rarely budge. People everywhere gather up enemies, outraged at how they missed a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities into an heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck with such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Judy shared now her limits, hoping Julie will too. Jerry shared for 4 minutes. He just can't share things like they do. And Judy always thought that she should have bought 2 when she had the chance to buy. Judy soon forgot about shut and dot, although she up a call, she'll die. People everywhere gather up enemies, outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities into when heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck with such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Kaboom! Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was called Destruction of the Whole Damn World. Here's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. Hands in his pockets, now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men. Oh, he's telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them. Though now the bridge brings a new approach, sneakily he'll try to encroach up on the guilty. Then perhaps he'll get the chance to yell at them. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets, now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets, now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. That sounded good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel, for singing along.
You're welcome.
Let's try. I think you're going to end with this, which is every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. Every time I see the name Sanchez, I think of Mark Sanchez, former USC quarterback Mark Sanchez, author of the notorious butt fumble when he played for the Jets. Unfortunately, Sanchez, the name now, is associated primarily with two things. The dirty Sanchez, I'm not really sure what it is, but I don't like the sounds of it, and the Mark Sanchez butt fumble. Actually, I'll do this one and then I'll do that one. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get to Marjorie's tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire that firm to change his name. Gerald always thought there'd be chance enough to return to the work left rough. He'd get back to it eventually, but his visions piled up and his plans would interrupt all the work that started off so hopefully. And now his mind is back on his business, thinking of changing factless for listless. So how all the people will shout his name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more clearly now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald plays his part. And Gerald still knew there's too much to do, and he had dropped time in the underview. Too much to rebut, so where now and what? Too much time nitpicking this queue with you. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get to Marjorie's tasty spots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. 'Cause Gerald has a thought. I'm referring to the places that Margarine thinks are good places to eat out. That's what I'm referring to. Her tasty spots. The spots that she likes to go to get burritos. This is a tasty spot for burritos, a tasty spot for tacos, tastiest place to get hamburgers, you know. That's what I'm referring to. He wants her secret list of tasty spots. God, your mind is in the gutter. The people we attract around here, Rachel, with their gutter-filled minds.
Well, you're schooling them.
Yeah, this is a family show, okay? You can take your anal wreckage and shove it up your butt. Oh, wait, that's redundant. Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches a time when the road comes to an end. But I'm there. Will there be anybody else around? Or will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel filled up with bones. Yeah, that satchel, now nothing but home. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 That was nice. I played that well that time.
Yes, you did.
My voice is a little but pretty solid.
I'd say so too.
That was very pleasant playing songs time for me. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
I enjoyed it.
Corn tortillas are no flour tortillas. Let's not lie to ourselves. A corn tortilla is the kind of tortilla they made before they discovered flour.
Yes. I learned so much by being with you.
When they ask flour or corn, don't just say flour. You need to say it like this. Flour? What is with these people and their corn tortillas? When did you guys come up with this new idea that some people want corn in their tortillas? Okay, the answer is flour, obviously. Get it through your thick skull. Like that. That's how to make change in the world.
How do you make change in the world?
You think globally, act locally. By shaming people for asking you if you want corn tortillas. Okay, with those wonderful thoughts and with great thanks to you for sticking around for my songs, those of you who did, I bid you all, and Rachel does as well, I presume,
Of course I do.
a fond and fair adieu. Desert Eye and TJ, you're almost as old as I am. Aren't you a little old to be hanging around YouTube? Anyway, goodbye everybody.
Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Exactly.